Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shonen Speak Easy. It's your boy LQ, and welcome to 2025. It seems like we had a lot to go through in the past year, a lot of stuff going on, and I just want to say I am very thankful to be here and that I've made it. Me and my family are happy, healthy, and safe, and I hope the same for you and yours. But let's go ahead and get into the episode. It's a new year. And we got the same old problems in hip hop. And that number one problem being Mr. Lawbry Drake Karen Graham. And it's getting weird out here. I mean, it's been weird already. And I did a breakdown about the issues with Drake and why he lost the beef, which was like the overconfidence, the lack of accountability, and even just not necessarily having a grasp on how relationships are built and established, but also, reading comprehension. Really, if we just had basic reading comprehension, we would not have the Hard Part 6 Mother I Sober moment. And then going back over a decade, we wouldn't have the misinterpretation of the verse In Control from the Big Sean and Kendrick and Jay Electronica track. So it just seems like now it's gotten even worse. It's spiraling from just misunderstandings into idiocracy. We've already seen academics get questioned for pretty much lying. And now he's doubling down. It's getting worse, man. It's going to a point where now academics is relaying information from Drake about LeBron after the Fighting Irish Freestyle, which, if you're not aware, Fighting Irish Freestyle was a leaked, huge quotation marks, a leaked freestyle from Drake over a conductor beat. Explain the concept of the song is basically going over Drake's feeling of betrayal and how everything played out after the beef with Kendrick. And one of the big points that he touches on is the betrayal of friends and how he feels like these people that he was so close to and that he cared about so much, people that he went out, and spent time and vacations with and had seen, their families or done these activities with and like exchanging watches, and how they are now at the Pop Out concert enjoying themselves with Kendrick Lamar, rapping to a song about him being a pedophile and a culture vulture. Because I have to remind people that Not Like Us is not simply about him being a pedo. It's also about being a culture vulture as well. And there's some very interesting stuff that was said, and I didn't. Y'all just got to hear it for yourselves. Let me pull this up for y'all real quick.
Yo, LeBron, you and Drake used to go in two mans, okay? You've been cheating on your goddamn wife. Drake used to facilitate the host, and basically, essentially, you can't dance to a song about him being a pedophile. He used to supply you with the bitches. I'm sorry. Yo, LeBron.
Now, there's a lot to take away from here. A lot. And one of the main things that I had an issue with is that, one, academics being Drake's mouthpiece and still not getting anything out of it to benefit this relationship. He's actually had his credibility pretty much torn apart since the beginning of this beef, or honestly, since the beginning of him being a huge rider for Drake. But this makes it even worse because not only are you just taking everything that Drake says at face value and relaying it to the audience, a lot of this stuff is like speculation or honestly stuff we can't even define to be true from Drake himself. It's really weird that he continues to throw rocks and hide his hands and hide behind people that love him so much, but then he wants to be mad that other people seem to be betraying him by hiding behind others. It's very weird. It's very hypocritical in my eyes. But anyway, breaking this down. So in Fighting Irish Freestyle, of course, said he was talking about friends and betrayal. One of those main people being LeBron James, who he got tattooed on his body, which makes no sense. But hey, do what you want, but your body is yours. But also having this perspective that he should be your friend and he should play nice to you and not enjoy someone else's music, someone else that he's also had a long time relationship with, just because you're beefing with him. And then this beef is kept clearly on wax until you wanted to take it off of there, canceling people's shows that were from LA coming to Toronto, going on streams with like QXC and making making comments about people that weren't involved in the beef at all, very weird, and continuing to throw subtle shots and do things on Instagram and such and blah, 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 blah. So basically committing most of the actions that he wouldn't want committed against him because he knows how detrimental they are in a way, but also he just can't sense how hypocritical he's being. Anyway, going down into the depths of what I really wanted to talk about, which is this wild allegation between the relationship of Drake and LeBron. Now, we've seen them in photos and videos, and we already know about the song Forever for when Drake was like starting to come into mainstream, and having the track that literally went to LeBron's movie and being about his upcoming and basically the start of his legacy. So we look at this and say, wow, LeBron really did betray Drake. But things that people don't even take into consideration is like not every friendship put in your face and put on display for social media. Some of the closest friends I have in my life, they're not a part of this podcast. Sometimes they don't even listen to the podcast. They don't listen to podcasts in general. And I don't plaster my relationship with them all over social media. We talk to each other on the phone. We play video games together. We go see each other. Those are the type of interactions that we have. So to assume that somebody is not friends with someone else because they're not always outside is weird. But also on the flip side, to assume that someone is your best friend just because y'all go hit up parties together is weird as hell. Or to think that someone owes you because you tattooed them on your body, which is still weird to me. I can't get over that. Is also weird as well. But I think one of the issues that I brought up in the past video about Drake losing the beef that really sat with me, and I thought about even more as as I went through more things that were going on in hip hop, like the Lil Yachty and Caribou situation, is that a lot of these people that have been famous for quite some time or got started young and start making money young start to use industry money to build personal relationships. And that's not how that works. It never works. You can have friends in the industry, but you can't buy people's affection. You can try to, but it doesn't last. It doesn't work. And I believe that's something that Drake continues to do. And every time it falls apart, he's just like, I can't trust anybody. Why is everybody so fake? How come nobody loves me? But he doesn't understand that, like, he's part of the problem. And, getting exposed by Kendrick and other people in the industry, and especially, didn't really help his case that much. So one of the things that I found to be an issue when I spoke about this in the Lil Yachty situation is that when he gave his friend that podcast, and when he went to talk to was it Key Glock, he went on to like make fun of the fact that he didn't have anything going on without Yachty, but you wanted him to pledge his loyalty to you, and the way that you wanted to confirm that was with money. So in the same feeling in the Fighting Irish Freestyle, what Drake talks about is exchanging watches. And it's like, well, exchanging watches doesn't make him owe you anything. It's weird. It's a very awkward thing to say. This is what defines our friendship and what defines our relationship. And it only works when people that you give these things to don't have any of these things of their own. So it may work with Chubb. It may work with Smiley. It may work with some of the other people in the industry that are way less successful than you. It kind of work. The feeling of it works with artists that have less, that don't have the opportunities. It may work with the people that are signed to OVO that have nothing going on for them right now. And that's not that we're going to exclude P&D because everybody's going to be like, we know P&D, but it may work for Mahid Jordan. It may work for Division. It may work for Naomi. It definitely works for Baca. But you can't buy these relationships. They have to be organically created. The reason why they don't check on your son like a pediatrician, how often have you gone to, Bronny's games? Or do you even know LeBron's daughter's name? I don't, so it's okay. Do you have conversations with Savannah? Does Savannah even want you around her husband, knowing the type of man that you are? And that's where that divide comes in. You don't really know him as a man. in order to say that his loyalty should be pledged to you. It makes no sense. Or you would have already known that he already has a relationship with Kendrick. And it just feels weird. And I just really wish that I could understand what it was that went through his head. But I kind of get it. And the thing is, there's a situation where it shows this great disconnect in their relationship. And I have to share it with you because it's also one of the funniest things I remember about Drake and LeBron. And I just love this.
To do other things. I didn't want to further your reputation or your career by rapping back at you and having this exchange. And that was it for me.
Drake texts you and like, am I letting you down?
Yeah, what'd I tell you?
What did you say to him?
You said that I can never let you down.
Exactly. So I feel like part of the issue is that Drake seeks validation so much that it starts to warp his sense of reality. And with that warping comes these expectations from other people. And maybe it's, to be a little nice to Drake, even though I'm about to be mean as hell to him for probably the rest of the year. The thing that makes me feel bad for him is that growing up with fame, maybe he didn't have the experiences to help cultivate an understanding of how these relationships are built. Maybe his lack of understanding of how to make friends and how to make lifelong friends and how to be in these spaces where you can truly be yourself stems from the fact that he grew up working in the industry, rather it was acting before getting the rap. Working in those industries stripped away what you would have as an everyday experience of making friends, of sustaining friends. And then you throw the one thing that you do know at these people expecting those results. You throw money. And it failed because why? LeBron James has access to whatever the fuck he wants. The man is he is a billionaire athlete. He is happy with his family. He is an Olympic champion. This man is going down in the history books as one of the greatest people to ever participate in sports, not just basketball, in sports. So when you have someone that you're just exchanging watches with or trying to throw money at in order to gain their foster their friendship, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter to him. So instead of being a real person, and instead of having your values match with his, and instead of, bringing your child to places where LeBron would clearly have his entire family or hanging out with him in that instance, like a normal human being would when they have children and set up like play dates, or at least just have your family with them and spending time and connecting with them in that way, you expect this loyalty from him from a homie perspective. And not just from a homie perspective, but like a celebrity homie perspective. Oh, yeah, we were out in Dubai together and we had a great time. Nigga, he don't care. He can go to Dubai whenever he wants. When they talk about, getting bumped out the playoffs and going to Cancun, have y'all not seen this man go on trips with CP3 and Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade? And then they also would bring their families. Like, that's stuff that real friends do. One thing that a man is not going to do if he truly wants to show you that he is not your friend, if that man has a family, you will never be around them. And in any instance that Drake has spent time with LeBron, since he likes to be in front of the camera, since he likes things to be public, you have never seen him with LeBron's full family. And maybe, that Meet the Grams line did age well, and maybe LeBron had already kind of had that feeling in the first place, because LeBron definitely kept his family away. So it really makes me look back at how this reaction worked out of, telling LeBron that he should watch out and that they used to run two mans, which to explain to everyone what a two man is basically like a double date. You got one person that set it up and that girl has another friend and she's like, hey, you got a friend for my homegirl? And Drake is basically saying like, yeah, I got LeBron. And the girls are just like, oh my God, LeBron, who is that? And then he arranges things and sets it up in Canada so they can go run two mans and they get laid. And it's like, this is the thing that you want to expose because somebody didn't think that you were more valuable after exchanging a few watches with you. Do you not see how weird you are? And then even the way that he brings up, I supplied the girls. First of all, Drake, there's a very small selection of people in this world that, and of course, it's a large majority of them are women, that can go outside and say, I feel like fucking something. And people will line up in droves to do it. LeBron is one of those people that can do that, rather for men or women, whatever he likes. I mean, I'm pretty sure he loves his wife and his family. But if LeBron went outside and just said, I feel like fucking, who's down? There's going to be long lines of people. I mean, maybe for his stature, maybe for his money, but for whatever reason, people will line up. It's the same way if it was a female artist like Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or Glorilla. You know, there's always going to be detractors, people that say they ugly and that they don't like them. But there is a much longer list of people that are more interested and that are willing. So if you think a global phenomenon of an athlete as LeBron James can't manage to go get him some hoes if he really wanted them, or let's be respectful, if he wanted to find him a lady of the night or just, you know, a one night stand, if you don't think LeBron has at least the social grace and presence to do that on his own, you're crazy. But to think that, as Aubrey believes that LeBron owes you his loyalty because you helped get him some ass in Canada is exactly why you're not really a friend of his. It's why you're not hanging out with him. It's exactly why he relates more to Kendrick than he does to you. Because you're one of those situational friends that once you stop benefiting, you start beefing. And that's exactly what happened here. He used to benefit from being able to be on camera and do these little press runs and be able to talk to LeBron and feel like the high-class A-list celebrity he is. The acceptance that he was looking for, he finally received it. The type of notice that he was looking for, it finally came across for him. And then the moment that he realizes he's not number one in everybody else's eyes, how he's been seen in the industry for the past decade and a half, now it's time to start beefing. Same thing goes on into the diss tracks. I'm number one in everybody's eyes. Not Like Us hits number one. Nah, that ain't right. It's time to start beefing. Oh, Atlanta ain't really rocking with me like that? Oh, you let Kendrick on your song and have a guest verse? No, I don't like that. It's time to start beefing. Everything here that really, when you really break it down, a lot of Drake's problem is privilege. And that privilege comes from a lack of culture and a lack of insight and a lack of understanding of those around him, especially because you're a Canadian living in America who got put on by someone in the South, or some people in the South, because Jay Prince and Wayne and Birdman, and not staying in your lane and wanting to navigate more into the avenues of what was popular, aka even more people in the South, Future, 21 Savage, I Love McConan, going into these spaces and not truly having understanding or respect on how they navigate is exactly the disconnect that keeps you from being real friends with these people. So that there's nothing more to it. And this is exactly why the only people that are really parading you are the people that have mostly never met you in real life. Academics already says that he doesn't have a real life connection with Drake, that he's never really met Drake in person, which is crazy because even Bobby Altoff got tickets to his concert and she got backstage passes. But then again, that was another relationship that was fostered by money. They had Drake, Bobby Altoff, exact same management. His allegiance with Baca is signed to OVO. I'm getting paid off of you. If Baca turns around and wants to separate himself from OVO, guess what? Time to start beefing. Then all of a sudden, that weird case that he has doesn't really seem too weird to, doesn't seem less weird to Drake than it does now. So the biggest issue here is just thinking that you have the power to destroy a relationship that you didn't even build. And then the relationships that he's keeping or maintaining almost exclusively have nothing to do with rap anyway, but even worse, aren't the best reflection of what Drake wants people to see him as. Why would I want academics as my mouthpiece? Clown behavior. Why would I want Aiden Ross as my mouthpiece? Clown behavior. The person that said hip hop is dead, that has absolutely no cultural significance, has no cultural insight whatsoever. That's the person you want to align yourself with. The girl that was on Kick that was doing that was talking to underage girls, trying to get them to be topless on stream. Oh well, I was mandated to be there because Steak owns Kick, and it's part of my contract and all the money I have to go on the girls' channel. So that's the only reason why I was there. Fostering relationships that don't look good on you. You all about gambling and a streaming site that's not only tanking and going under, but is known to push a lot of alt-right and also age-sensitive content. Not a good look for you, Drake. So before I continue to drone on about this, I just want to make my points very clear. Drake has a problem that's much greater than this situation. And it continues to show up rather in lawsuits, in friendships, in relationships. And it's a big reason why a lot of people continue to distance themselves from him. These people aren't crazy. But maybe Drake is. He doesn't have a shrink. He doesn't have a counselor. But you know what he does have? He doesn't have a problem. He has a subtle addiction. That man's drinking. That man's desire to be with multiple women. His masculinity is baked into impressing other men. I want to be able to sleep with your girl. No, but people don't respect that. I sell a bunch of records and I do everything I can to reinvent myself to stay popular with very young age groups, even though I'm almost 40. People aren't impressed by that. Your success is great, but the reason why nobody is applauding you is because you just play in a system. There's nothing else going on that makes you substantial as a man that in other people's eyes says, I want to be around that person. And all the casual support that you have from the fans, they don't really love you. They love being associated with success. They like most of your songs. Good. But trust me, if you were in a bind and you needed all of these fans to donate you money to get you out on bail, nah, nigga, the last album wasn't that good. You'll be stuck. So I would say if I had any advice for Aubrey is like, bro, go get counseling. Go get some serious help. And I mean it, because the relationships that you have fostered, and it seems like the big gaping hole that is in your heart definitely comes from not having adequate relationships with any of his family. The only person that he can basically run over and get what he wants out of is his mom. And that comes from being rich early on. That's the main parent. And then also just her passiveness. And you can tell because the situation that she had with Dennis Graham, and like having that distant relationship with Dennis Graham, and how Dennis basically brought up to him, hey, why are you on record denying that you got any siblings? And then he was like, oh, it's for content. It makes for good records. And then Dennis just going along with him being like, I understand, go for it. Mentioning people in your songs that thinking that like they owe you something, or putting their business out there like it's going to really do anything. The reason why a lot of people don't believe anything said from you now is because the relationships that you fostered. You're a man of little to no integrity. And even though your music can be good, it's still a shame that you walk around with this type of chip on your shoulder that's like completely unwarranted. So I will say, I really hope that he gets help, and I really hope that this helps other people understand how to foster real relationships instead of thinking that you can just throw money at all your problems. Sometimes you really got to dig deep and look into yourself and say, if everybody feels this way about me, I got to be the problem. At least partially, love. Like, there's no way that you look at this situation and just continue to blame everybody else. I think that's absolutely insane. But overall, this is some wild shit. And Academics has no credibility left. Not like he really had any in the first place. So whenever you see him, anytime you see Academics' name, you just need to boo. Just get this man out of here. There's no use for him being in media anymore. But it is hilarious. And my wife brought up something that really caught me off guard. And I was just like, he made a really great point that a lot of men try to make their point or stake their claim and make themselves seem important through the disrespect of women. And she was like, I don't understand why we're such a focal point for everyone when their whole goal is just to be disrespect us or treat us as property. Because academics said he spoke to the whores. I talked to a lot of whores. And they said that, you know, you and Drake, they can confirm that you and Drake was running two mans and that you've been cheating on your wife. And it really made me think about something here. And that's a lot of the validation that they seek is literally through impressing men. And one of the ways that you impress men is by showing your control or showing the quantity of women that you can have for yourself. And that's exactly why Drake likes to sleep with other people's wives and talk to people's girlfriends. It's exactly why he thinks it's cool for him to, you know, swing his dick pic around on the internet and then bring it up in a diss track. And then on top of that, say that he's going to expose somebody for cheating on their wife while enabling them to cheat on their wife if it is true, but also not worrying about how LeBron's family and his wife will be affected if he's lying. It's exactly why he brings up people's partners in diss tracks when he gets into beefs. It's exactly why he continued to harass Rihanna, even though she's happy and has children with her man, A$AP Rocky. It's because there is no respect for women when it comes from him as well. So that blatant disrespect for women, and then that seeking approval from other men, that usually comes with being able to have a lot of money, a lot of hoes, being able to run through them, you know, having so many like area codes and being able to run through them 7 days a week, comes from fostering this idea of searching for acceptance through other men and what he believes that stereotype of a manly man is. So having that be the idea of his masculinity, being a baby daddy like his daddy, you know, and just sleeping around, like having this idea of like, this is what it is to be a man at almost 40 years old is extremely, extremely sad. So with that said, I'm done ranting about this man. I'll probably have a part 2 of this episode if there's anything that develops. Hopefully that lawsuit falls through, because it will be hilarious to watch him fall on his face about that. We know everybody does. We know everybody in the music industry does payola. Trust me, I'm not rooting for UMG. I'm rooting for this to be completely done and for Drake to be exposed for benefiting from this significantly more than how he has fallen from it. But anyway, take care of yourselves, the ones that are around you. Call me OQ, Shonen Speakeasy. We out.